Hello everybody, welcome back to the second installment of my work diary, and today I'm going to show you guys how I made a prototype for my hobbit hole pastures. To do this, I added some dust to one of the flat tiles that I made, putting some PVA glue to start so that it'll stick better to the dry tile. I shaped the dust on the tile into hills, and then using the flat side of one of my wax shapers cut into the hillside to create the hobbit hole front. And using the back of a file that lost its handle, I made a circular indent into each of these fronts, and this will represent the door of the hobbit hole. I wanted each hobbit hole to have a distinct entrance, so I took the pointy edge of the wax shaping tool and I pressed it into the dust, creating these sorts of stepping stones leading up to each of the doors. When I was done shaping all of the hobbit holes, I cut up some 1mm steel wire and pushed it in to each of the hills to create these tiny chimneys. As you can see, I'm very dexterous and deft, and I never dropped the wire. When I was done putting all the chimneys, I remembered that I forgot to leave a specific place for the number. So I added a bit more dust to the biggest hill, made some room for the number, and pressed it in, and added some more dust around it so that it'll have a nice ring around where the number lies, and then went back with my shaper and fixed up all the damage that I did while doing this. Yes, dust cracks and it ripples as it dries, but this is actually a good thing when you're trying to create realistic terrain, because these ripples and cracks give the terrain a more realistic and organic look. So in this sense, the dust is actually a good material to do these things on. The dust was dry. I came back with some craft paints and painted it up. I used some spring green by Apple Barrel to give the entire tile a base coat, and then came back with some seaweed and Granny Smith by Arthur Stewart Crafts, just to create more variation on the tile, using the seaweed to color in the lower and deeper areas of the tile, and Granny Smith to highlight the upper edges of each hill. Then, when this was dry, I came back with a bit of gray and touched up those stepping stones to make them more visible. When this was done, I took some abyssal blue by Vallejo and colored in each of the doors in blue. I chose blue because I knew it would stand out really strongly against the green, and because I had this image of hobbit hole always having blue doors. Now I wanted to accentuate the front of each of the hobbit holes and make it seem as if they have brick fronts. So I took this reddish color, also by Vallejo, I think it's called Bloody Red, and I mixed it up with some sienna to create this brick color, and I painted each of the fronts. When this was done, I took some gold color, and using a toothpick, I added a tiny droplet of gold on each door to represent a door handle. Now this is something that you can only see if you really look closely, but I thought it was a nice touch. Then I remembered that all the chimneys are also bricks, so made out of brick, so I came back and I colored each of the chimneys in the brick color. With the sheep, I took some epoxy clay, epoxy putty, Made it out into tiny balls and started sticking them to the tile. I do this pretty randomly wherever I thought a sheep would sit, and since then I decided to do my sheep differently, but I think this actually came out nice, so not a bad way, good. I think I have a nicer way, and I'll show it up in the next time that I'm going to touch up this tile. So to shape the sheep, I simply took this pin tool that I made and pressed it into the front of each of the proto sheep to separate it into two lobes, a bigger lobe and a smaller lobe being the head, the bigger one being the body. Then took some white paint by Vallejo and colored each shape in white. Then coming back with some black to create this black head sheep. In my mind, no self-respecting hobbit would have a sheep that isn't a black head. And that's it, the tile was ready. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video diary. Till then, goodbye.